Debate over whether statue seizures increase turnout at June 4th vigil. U.S. Defense Secretary calls for resumption of military ties with China, and Israeli forces intercept another aid vessel heading to Gaza.
Good evening. Several leading political figures said today that the high turnout at last night's June 4th vigil may have been due to the recent controversy over the seizure of statues by police. The crowd at Victoria Park was estimated at 110,000 by the police, the highest figure they have given for the annual event. The organisers said 150,000 people attended. Tens of thousands of people turned out for last night's candlelit vigil in remembrance of the Tiananmen Square crackdown. Some local political figures acknowledged today that the recent seizure by police of the organisers' statues may have pushed the turnout higher.
I personally would not exclude, and this is a supposition that many people have raised, the connection between what happened to the statue and the turnout rate. There's a possibility of some who went to Victoria Park for that particular reason.
National People's Congress Standing Committee member Rita Fan agreed that some of the participants might have gone along because they considered the police action amounted to political suppression.
Whether there is suppression or not, as I said earlier, I do not know. Why did the government do certain things? Why did the authority do certain things? I'm sorry, I cannot second guess them.
Last Saturday, authorities removed the new Goddess of Democracy statue and a carving from the piazza outside Times Square in Causeway Bay because activists did not apply for a permit for public entertainment. Another statue was removed from the same location the following evening. Today, Executive Council member Cheng Yiu-tong offered another explanation for the police force's actions. He said because the Goddess of Democracy is over 6 meters tall, it could have toppled and injured pedestrians, so it had to be taken away for safety reasons. Meanwhile, Sito Hua, the chairman of the Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements in China, said June 4th was a turning point in developments on the mainland. On an RTHK radio show, he said if the authorities at the time had accepted an equal dialogue with protesters and responded to anti-corruption demands, that would have been the first step to democracy. Sito again urged mainland authorities to reverse their verdict on the June 4th movement. U.S. Defense Secretary Robert Gates today called on China to restore military ties between the two countries. Gates also said Washington was considering the options beyond the United Nations to punish North Korea over the sinking of a South Korean warship. James Legilia reports.
James Legilia, TVB News.
Documents smuggled out of Myanmar by an army defector indicate its military regime is trying to develop nuclear weapons and long-range missiles, apparently with North Korean assistance. The Norway-based Democratic Voice of Burma identified the defector as an army major who smuggled out extensive files and photographs. A report co-authored by former UN nuclear inspector Robert Kelly said the evidence he has seen and heard from the defector is the most compelling yet to support suspicions that Myanmar is interested in acquiring atomic weapons. Kelly added what he has seen only makes sense in the context of a weapons program and not a civilian nuclear program. On Thursday, U.S. Senator Jim Webb announced he was postponing a trip to Myanmar because of new allegations that it was collaborating with North Korea to develop a nuclear program. BP is capturing some oil spewing from its ruptured well in the Gulf of Mexico after covering it up with a funnel-like cap. But oil is still leaking out into the sea in large amounts. The US Coast Guard says the device is siphoning off about 1,000 barrels a day, barely 5% of the estimated leakage. BP expects the collection rate will increase to 90% of the gushing oil. US President Barack Obama said it's way too early to be optimistic. The leader yesterday visited the hard-hit Louisiana coast for the third time since the disaster began more than 6 weeks ago. Oil has now hit parts of western Florida after Louisiana, Mississippi and Alabama. The tar balls washing ashore on white sandy beaches are threatening to deal a big blow to the Sunshine State's lucrative tourism industry.
Health authorities are urging people to remain vigilant against avian influenza following this year's first fatal case of the virus on the mainland.
Kenneth Fung, TVB News.
Undercover agents may join inbound tour groups in future to look out for unscrupulous practices by travel agencies. This as investigations continue into an incident in which a mainland visitor died after an argument with a tour guide. Bo Leung reports.
The Travel Industry Council said they've received complaints about Wing's travel agency in the past over the attitudes of the tour guides and the shopping. And the agency has also been fined tens of thousands of dollars before. Investigations are continuing over this case. Bo Leung, TVB News.
Senior government officials will take to the streets again tomorrow in another bid to drum up public support for their constitutional reform plan. The proposals may be submitted to the Legislative Council as soon as Monday. The government has come up with a new video clip to rally up public backing for the package. The street campaign tomorrow will consist of 3 teams of political appointees. Chief Executive Donald Tsang's team will hand out leaflets on Hong Kong Island, while Chief Secretary for Administration Henry Tang will lead a similar effort in Kowloon. Financial Secretary John Tsang and Secretary for Justice Wang Yanlong will be campaigning the new territories. The whole event is expected to last for over an hour. Customs officers seized $2.5 million worth of electronic goods in an operation off Lamma Island yesterday. 4 people were arrested. Some of the goods, including hard disks, memory sticks and computers, were found in a hidden compartment of a speedboat. The vessel was intercepted off Yuen Kok and was believed to be heading for the mainland. 2 men on board the speedboat were arrested. Customs seized more goods at a shipyard in Ap Lei Chau and arrested 2 more men. The maximum penalty for smuggling offences is a fine of $2 million and 7 years behind bars. And now over to you, Jameson, for some sports news.
Yeah, some sad news first. Legendary American basketball coach John Wooden has died of natural causes at the age of 99. Wooden, known as the Wizard of Westwood, won a record 10 national championships at UCLA, or the University of California, Los Angeles, in the city's Westwood area.
And finally, it was a day out for the dogs today at the Sydney Opera House. A free high-frequency concert was staged there for music-loving canines. Jeremy Austin has details.
The forecourt of the famous Opera House was filled today with hundreds of 4-legged visitors and their owners. The event was billed as an unprecedented interspecies social gathering, and in amongst a lot of pampered pooches, there were also those who apparently have a refined taste for music.
He quite likes jazz, actually.
My dog's German and she prefers German composers. She loves classical music, but primarily German.
Jeremy Austin, TVB News.
And that's all from the newsroom for now. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great night.
Good night.
See ya.